Hello there. If you don't know me, my name is Maria and I like to make technology videos on the internet. And I thought it would be fun, since I'm almost done my internship at Twitch, if I could speed run it and see if I could explain most things that happened in the past 4-ish months. So that's what I'm going to try to do today, and we'll see how that works out. I hope you're excited, and I've also written some Twitch articles if you want to read about those. I'll leave them in the description. Okay, let's get down to business. First week, you can see the video about that. It was onboarding, IT setup stuff, learning new technologies, or like refreshing my knowledge, like with GraphQL, learning about Golang. We had even a Golang training session with a really smart senior engineer, and also learning Twerp, which is like what Twitch uses with Go. It's this other technology. And I also learned about my project that I was going to be working on for the next 4 months. And I read the project spec of it, so it's like, what is it about? And then my task was to actually write the technical design document. So it basically outlines like every step that I need to take and like what I need to build, like the architecture of it. And to do that, I read a bunch of like example technical design documents from my teammates. So thank you for writing good ones. So basically in weeks 2 and 3, it was mostly me writing my technical design document and getting it reviewed a lot of times by my mentor so it could be polished. So basically my project is trying to surface data to streamers, but the issue was that the precursor to this project was another project from another team that was not finished. So essentially my project became 1.5 projects. So this is why my mentor kept calling my project Dark Souls NG+++++, because if you don't know, that's a game where it's like every time you play it, it gets harder and harder. So every time that we had like a new thing we had to do, it got harder, or like something went wrong. So that's what you'll see in this video. That's what happened. And essentially I was drawing illustrations of like the architecture, learning about all the microservices and how they're connected and which ones I need to use and which ones I don't need to use, and like how everything works, because I had never seen the Twitch code, obviously. Also, I didn't know Golang, so I was learning Golang at the same time. We started the Golang book club with this other engineer, and we were going through the textbook. I have it somewhere on my desk. We actually finished it, so that's good. So there's a lot of meetings with me, my mentor, and the engineer who didn't finish this other project from the other team, and he was super helpful. And also with the UX designer to see like what is the goal for the front end to look like, because this is a full stack project. But only recently did I actually work on the front end, so I was working backwards most of the time. And during this time, we always had weekly advisories with like the intern class to learn about like the stuff that we need to know as interns, and also games and that kind of thing, like intern events, which are really fun. So in my 3rd week, I finally set up a tech design review meeting with all my teammates and some people from other teams so that they can review my tech design. So it was 30 minutes. They read the doc for the first 10 minutes and left comments. And then the other 20 minutes was me going through all these comments and answering questions. I was super nervous for this, but it actually ended up being really helpful, and it was good for people to point out holes. But something interesting that came out of this meeting was that the engineer from the other team saw that I was saying that we should use this old microservice and change the data there. And he was saying, no, we should use this new microservice written in Go, not the old one in Ruby on Rails, because Twitch used to be on Ruby on Rails. And they're like, no, let's use the Go one. So I was like, okay, you're like, I'll listen to you. I was very naive. I was like, oh sure, I'll do it. Like I was basically trying to be good. Like I was trying to prove myself to be a good engineer, because I was like, okay, I'm gonna use the new service. I'm gonna use GraphQL instead of the old thing that they were using. I'm gonna use all these new things. I'm following best practices. So I went that route. I spent 2 weeks coding all of this stuff, and only once I got to the front end. So I wrote the backend, I wrote the GraphQL code. I was writing the front end code when I realized, like, because this was already a feature was kind of built out. We were just trying to add something, like fix something in the database essentially, and we're just trying to pass this new data into the database. But I found out the way that they're doing it is they're passing it to all these old microservices, and if we wanted to pass it to the new microservice, the backend one, then we can't, because it's going to take too long and it's not asynchronous. So that was an issue. So I had to write this 1-pager document where it's like explaining all the problem and the solutions I can come up with, and talk to some senior engineers and send it to a bunch of people for them to review it and give me their opinions. And essentially what I had to decide was, okay, it's either that this other team makes their code asynchronous and I have to wait for them to do that, or I can just rewrite all of my code in all the old microservices. So I had to make the decision to do that because I didn't have enough time, and it's like, okay, whatever. Like you can't get people to like throw all their other work to the side and start working on your thing. Like they have their own like things that they need to be doing. Okay, so then I spent the next 1.5 weeks working on rewriting all my code in all those different microservices, and finally I was done that other project so I could actually start mine. So then mine, much easier, slightly. Okay, but still many weird things happen, but slightly easier working in code that's like owned by my team. What happened was I had this data in the database, now I need to pipe this data and surface it on the front end so people can see it. So that was the main goal. And I had to write this complex query in another microservice, and too many microservices, oh my god. But I had to write this query, and it ended up being a more complicated query, or a complex SQL query. I had to ask for help, and then all these data scientists were like supposed to be, I was asking them, how do I make this more optimized for like big channels so it doesn't time out or it doesn't take too long? And then they were questioning me about my project, and I'm like, no, I just need help with my query. So that was interesting to experience this kind of stuff, and like having to explain why your project is important. And also during this time I had a lot of testing, learning how to test in Golang, you know, a lot of stuff like end-to-end testing of that first part of my project, and then like, I guess, load testing this query on different sizes of channels. And when everything finally worked, I like screamed. I ran downstairs and I was screaming to my mom. I was like, oh my god, my code is actually working, because I tested it and it was actually adding it to the database. And I was like, what? And then 30 minutes later, I demoed it to my team, and I was so excited to show them. So that was really nice, because like my other demos were like more back-endy things. Like this one, okay, it's also back-end, but it was like actually showing something that works, not like a portion of something. Or like my first demo was me showing them a document, like my tech design doc. And then a few weeks ago, one of my teammates, she finished her project, so then she joined my project to help add in the next feature, so like the second phase of the project. Like not like something additional, like there was my like project that was basically 1.5 projects, and then like a second step. So she wanted to add that, and she did all that so fast. And it was actually interesting working with her, because I don't know, I got so used to talking to just my mentor mostly, and I think we're both pretty similar, like more introverted, and we can message on Slack and talk through that. And at the beginning of my internship, we did meet like 30 minutes every day, I think, and then over time it became less meetings, and now it's maybe once or twice a week that we schedule a meeting, so that's pretty good. Less meetings are always good. And with her, it's just like a different person, different way of communicating, and she like is so good at explaining things. But like, what if I ask a question, she goes super in depth explaining things and sending me resources. So that was amazing. But she was just so fast that she gave me anxiety, because I was like, oh my god, am I slow? Am I super slow? Even though like my mentor and my manager were calling me a machine because I was going fast, but I don't think I was going fast. But still, she was so fast. But then we found out that we can't do her part of the feature unless we spend another like 6 to 8 weeks adding more security measurements around it. So then we're like, okay, not the plan, it's not in the cards to add this to my launch date, so it's okay. So she left the project, so that's depressing, but it was still really nice working with her. And essentially at this time, I have done the front end stuff. So finally, I am almost done. I'm testing things out. I think it's working. I don't know, I'll test on more channels, and I'm fixing up some of the back-end stuff, so cleaning things up. I have like 5 PRs up that I need people to review, and then hopefully I'll be done. And I also have to prepare to present my project to like the whole company on August 16th. So that's gonna be really interesting. So I'm excited for that, and I'll let you know how it goes, and if this has a happy ending and it's not too much of a Dark Souls project. I just presented to the company about my presentation, about my project. It was really fun, and it was just such a great experience being on my team and working with everyone. I learned so much. So I had like a cute thank you slide with haiku on it. I used so many anime gifs in this presentation, and I also used transitions. I don't know, it was just nice to close this off. Maybe I will do something else the rest of this week to finish up my project, to wrap it up. I do not know how to thank you all enough for this experience, and I'm just so grateful that I had the opportunity to have this internship. And I want to thank everyone who taught me something, and like all my mentors, managers, my whole team, everyone I met, the interns, the university recruiting team, just everybody. You're so great, and I enjoyed my time here so much. So thank you, and I hope you enjoyed watching this video.